So sequence unpacking is the ability to um, assign multiple things, multiple things to multiple things. So let's create a new folder, and we'll put in this. I'm just going to say conditionals and loops demos, and we're going to open this with code. And we're going to create a assignment demos program. And let's try this. Let's say x comma y comma z is equal to 1 comma 2 comma 3. And then let's print x, y, and z and see what we get. As we can see, 1 went to x, 2 went into y, 3 went to z. And so we have 1, 2, 3 that shows up down here. So this is convenient. You know, otherwise we would have to do something like this. We'd have to say x equals 1, y equals 2, z equals 3. And, you know, is this really critical for programming? Not really, but it does make it a little bit more concise. And Python does have a lot of features that makes the coding concise. Now, another thing that so this is called sequence unpacking, because really this ends up being a tuple because it's commas. And if I run it this way, we can see that, oh look, it still works. In fact, this can be any kind of sequence. And now it's a list. And the basic idea of sequence unpacking is it takes the sequence on the right, puts the first element and the first element here, the second element and the second element here, the third element and this third element here. It's almost like you could think of it as, hey, let's make this tuple over here and just assign them to be equal. And effectively, that's kind of what's happening here. This is a sequence being assigned to equal to another sequence, and each of these variables ends up taking the value in the same position. So things are being placed in here by position. And it just, you know, it ends up looking like this if we just want something simple. And it's a nice, convenient feature. Now, another thing we can use this for is let's say that we have x is equal to 1 and y is equal to 2, and we wanted to reverse them. We want x to become 2 and y to become 1. We can do this, x comma y equals y comma x. And so we can see that we can use this to reverse things. So let's actually, to make this into something that has everything in it, I'm just going to do this is equal to 1 comma 2 comma 3, and then print x comma y comma z. And this is sequence unpacking. And this is actually we'll call it switching values. And so we have kind of two little demos of things you can do with sequence unpacking and then also switching values. And it's these are nice, convenient features in Python. Another thing that we can look at here is we could do something like this. We make a tuple called values, and you know, a little print value so you see that this turns into a tuple. And then what we could do is say x comma y comma z is equal to values, and then print x comma y comma z again. And then you know, this is just works with variable that are sequences 2. And we see at the end here, that's values, even though we didn't put parentheses around it. Of course, in Python, everything that's separated by comma defaults to being a tuple. And then you can see that when we sequence unpack that tuple into XYZ, it in fact got the values. So that's sequence unpacking with regular lists. The other thing that we can do is dictionaries. Works with dictionaries as well. Let's say and then we want to get the key and value. We could do key comma value is equal to scoundrel, which is our dictionary dot pop item. Remember, pop item just takes one random element on there, and then we could say print and see what we got. And since there's two of these, we'll do this twice. And we can see last name Hood, first name Robin. So we can see that we can, this is actually a very good way of pulling something off of a dictionary, especially if we're doing it iteratively with a pop item type thing, and it works very nicely. Another situation that can happen is this. Let's say that we have x comma y comma z is equal to 1 comma 2. So we don't have enough values here to go into here. Let's see what that will do. So I'll run this. And we can see that we get a value error. And the reason is not enough values. So that's problematic. So not enough values. I'm going to just comment this out since it doesn't work. Oops. And then what happens if we do the other way? We have x comma y comma z and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we have too many values going in here. Too many values to unpack. So it says, hey, I don't have enough places to put all these things. So again, let's comment that one out since it doesn't work. What we can do though is we can do this. We can put an asterisk variable, and we're just going to, any variable name will do. We're going to put in rest, and then let's print x comma y comma rest. So we're just going to print out these variables and see what that does. And what we can see here is X got the first value, Y got the second value, and then the rest were made into a list and stored in this variable called rest. You know, this could be anything remaining. It's whatever variable name you want to call it. And what this asterisk does says, don't treat this as a variable that holds a single item. Treat it as a list. And so this is using the asterisk variable. And then let's see what would happen if we put it in the middle. So we'll do the same thing, sort of, but rather than putting this here, we will put that there. And in point of fact, it figures it out. It puts the first one in X, takes everything remaining, puts it as a list in middle, and then puts the last one in Y. So, you know, I suppose this would maybe make more sense this way. Since that's the order that they're in. But you can see that it took this middle piece and put it into this this asterisk. So, you know, obviously if you put two of them in here, I don't think it's going to work, but you can use this to absorb the excess numbers. You know, let's say we wanted the first and the last. In fact, that might be better names, right? You know, we could say this is first, this is last, and here we would have first and last. Just changing the name of variables. And that could be useful. You know, maybe you could use it with strings. You know, let's say, you know, we could say name is input. Please enter your full name. And we could use the same approach here, although we need to break the name up into pieces. So elements of name is equal to, maybe we'll take name dot split, and we will split, we'll just split this way, and let's just display what we get when we do that. So let's print elements of name. And you see that we get those three elements. But you know, sometimes people have multiple names. You know, let's say that it was something like this. You know, so it would be easy to grab the first and last with the, you know, indexing. And you could kind of do that with this. But let's say, you know, you had a name which is like Rob A.J. you know, Smith, something like that. And you can see, you know, you have multiple elements. Well, how do we deal with that? Well, what we could do is we could use this approach. just some name. And we can see we got the first and the last in here, but then middle is just a list of all the middle elements. So if there's like, if there's a number of different things they have in here, it can handle it. Now, if they put third or first, or, there's other things after, this breaks down, but it kind of gives you an idea of what you might be able to use, a combination of the split function to get it into a list, and then, and actually let's print, let's leave this print in place so that we can just kind of see what's happening. It grabs the all the middle elements and puts them in a collection so that we have the first and last, but these are all ensconced in this middle parameter. So just some ideas of how you can combine things, and then just keep applying different techniques to get what you want out of the collection. So that's sequence unpacking. Thank you very much.